researchers strive to unlock the secrets of breast cancer, Alzheimer's, and diabetes to lead the way in new frontiers against disease.
Hope, triumph, and the miracle of medicine. Bristol Myers Squibb Company.
Have you gotten yourself into too much credit card debt? You may be able to point and click your way out with a second mortgage from Ditech.com. Whether you have equity or no equity, Ditech has a second mortgage with a no closing cost option that may help lower your monthly payments. Why pay minimum monthly payments when you can pay off your high interest debt with a second mortgage from Ditech.com? For fast, friendly service, apply online or call us at 1-800-71-FIXED now.
Closed captioning for this program has been provided by Verizon Communications.
The search for life and loved ones continues as President Bush promises victory against terrorism. For complete coverage, stay with CNN.
You've got hundreds of channels to roam and all the premium entertainment you want, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do you want? An entertainment guarantee?
Yeah.
Good, because Showtime Unlimited gives you 200 exclusive movies every month, guaranteed. 50 very original shows, guaranteed. 10 channels, just $10.99.
Yeah?
Yeah. Call now for the best value on Dish Network, guaranteed.
Okay.
If I look happy, it's because I've got a super night's sleep in my Craftmatic Monaco adjustable bed. I'm also delighted because of the free TV I received. You can get a free 25-inch color TV with the purchase of any Monaco adjustable bed, too. Just call toll-free to receive this free TV certificate by mail. Call to have your free 25-inch color TV certificate and complete details about Monaco mailed to you right away.
Call 1-800-514-8181.
This is CNN.
And as of now, these are the very latest developments. President Bush today naming Osama bin Laden as the prime suspect in last week's attack. He says the United States wants to capture Osama bin Laden now, in his words, dead or alive. The president meeting with military officials at the Pentagon today, talking about details for activating the 35,000 reservists who will be called up to help secure the skies and protect American cities, homeland defense. Secretary of State Colin Powell now says he's pleased with the international community's support and its pledge to fight terrorism around the world. The Secretary of State says he's trying to assemble an anti-terrorism coalition that will have many parts to it, including legal, intelligence, and, of course, military. Well, while traders and analysts are making their way to the New York Stock Exchange today, rescue crews, of course, were working to pick up the rubble that was once the World Trade Center. It has been several days since anyone now has been found alive, but emergency workers have not given up hope. We join Gary Tuchman now in Lower Manhattan. He has more for us on the search and rescue effort there. Gary?
Well, Lou, when we first arrived in New York, we were told almost immediately by rescue workers that 5 survivors had been found. 5 survivors within the first 14 hours. Based on that, we and they, the rescue workers, thought we'd hear more good news, but it hasn't come. Here are the distressing numbers. 4,957 people are still missing in this rubble right behind me, and no people have been found alive since early Wednesday morning. It is believed that if there are survivors, they are under the World Trade Center complex. There are 6 levels below the complex, stretching a total of about 120 feet. Most of those levels have been explored and no survivors have been found. Earlier today, a car was found down there. A rescue worker saw someone in the car. It turns out it was someone who was killed during the disaster. It was very disappointing. But much of the underground area hasn't been explored, and the reason is it's too dangerous for rescue workers to go down there. We are told that there's a reasonable expectation a rescue worker could go down there and not get hurt or be killed. They would try it. The problem is the contrary is true. There's a reasonable expectation they would be hurt or killed, and it's too dangerous, the rubble's too precarious, and there's much of the area they can't get to. That is the fear right now, that people could have survived for days and that they'll never be recovered. Lou, back to you.
Gary, thank you. Gary Tuchman. Well, today on Wall Street, the insurance industry, insurance companies, certainly the worst hit sector on Wall Street, along with the airline sector. Investors are now predicting that the large insurance claims in the wake of Tuesday's attack will have a significant impact. Insurance issues across the board, and those companies, Allstate, which lost $0.50 a share, AIG, Chubb, Cigna, all down well over $3 a share, MetLife losing almost $2 a share. The largest commercial insurer now says while claims will be significant as a result of the terrorist attack, they will not affect the company's bottom line. We are joined now by AIG's chairman and chief executive officer, Maurice Greenberg, and Hank, it is good to see you.
Good to see you, Lou.
I know these are difficult times. Your offices, just a few blocks from the epicenter of this devastation. Your employees, your company, what shape are you in?
We're in pretty good shape. We're going to occupy our building again tomorrow. We were fortunate. We only had 2 casualties. We had about close to 100 people at the Trade Center, and 2 didn't get out.
That, in the wake of this disaster, while it is, of course, devastating, I know, for you to lose anyone.
It's terrible.
That is very fortunate indeed. In terms of those other companies and the other lives down there that have been lost, the claims against insurance companies will be massive. How significant will the claims be against your company, the largest commercial insurer?
Lou, it's very hard to predict the ultimate claims. Right now, we put an estimate out of approximately $500 million. Probably will go higher than that. But AIG is a AAA rated company, close to $50 billion of net equity. So from that point of view, it will not be devastating. But the loss of lives is a tragedy. You can't measure that in money.
And as we know, following the bombing in 1993, a lot of litigation followed that, a lot of discussion over various clauses in those contracts and subsequent claims for compensation. This time, much is being made of the issue of an act of war as a waiver of the liability of insurance companies. What is your company, your position on that?
I think any company that tries to escape liability by invoking the war clause is just out of step. It is not an act of war. It's a terrorist attack and will be covered. Our company will obviously do that. And I'm sure that most, if not all, companies will. On the question of liability, though, I would hope that we can have one jurisdiction to handle this rather than have the trial bar begin to make hay out of this. And there have been discussions today with officials in the Treasury Department and a number of other companies to see if that can be handled. Expedite claims, the payments, and avoid this circle of litigation.
Well, the federal government, to the credit of the Bush administration, has moved to expedite those claims for benefits for the survivors and the families of the victims claimed in this attack. So that would be a very happy...
It'd be the best way of doing it.
Okay. Yeah. Hank Greenberg, as always, good to have you with us here.
Good to see you, Lou.
Hank Greenberg, AIG. And the last several days, of course, difficult for everyone. Rescue workers combing the rubble still for signs of life. We'll have the latest for you throughout the evening here from Ground Zero. These difficult days, difficult for all of us. For New Yorkers, however, a specific and a very, very sharp pain and mourning and anger. We want to take a look now at the struggles of the rescue workers and all of the people who have shared that pain over the last several days.
I can't sleep. I hear planes, I jump out of bed.
What's your reaction to going back to work today?
I'm nervous, just like everybody. Wearing my sneakers just in case I have to do any walking or running today. I'm sure, like everyone else, I said my prayers before I left.
It's pretty mixed emotions. You know, I lost a lot of friends, a lot of coworkers, a lot of people. Your life goes on. You gotta get moving.
I can't wait to get back and start trading.
Thank you.
We need you to do the things that you've been doing. We need you to start trading again. I don't understand what you do, actually.
Things are definitely not normal.
There's excitement about getting back to work, about getting back to normal. Our city has has cameras and has police everywhere. It's almost like we're a military zone.
Driver's license.
It's like everything else. When times are bad, now something like this, all of a sudden security will be tightened. And then, when nothing happens for a year, then it's lax again. When they have to worry, they worry. And then, things are like, okay, it's okay. But it's never going to be okay.
They just had a bomb scare, and I had to walk. And to see this is just awful for the American people. We're in trouble. We have to fight back these people and keep on going.
There's only three things that I think has pulled everyone together, and that's hope, faith, and love.
Well, certainly principal amongst those achievements today, reopening the New York Stock Exchange, reopening the equity markets in this country. The result, large losses in the indexes, and specifically in a number of sectors. I mentioned the insurance industry and, of course, the airline industry in particular. In fact, airline stocks simply collapsed today. Some $6 billion in market cap were erased. The industry already suffering in what was a slowing economy, struggling now simply to stay solvent after this devastating terrorist attack and the curtailment of flights and the shutting down of airports. Kitty Pilgrim has the report on prospects for the industry.
Airline stocks sold off heavily on the day. American, Continental, Delta, and United heavily hit right from the start of trading. Few carriers were spared from the sell-off. Continental put 12,000 workers on hold over the weekend. U.S. Air is cutting 11,000 workers. CNN has learned American and Northwest cuts are imminent. Continental's Gordon Bethune predicts 100,000 job cuts in the industry.
It's a 3-day shutdown, we estimate, caused the loss of more than $1 billion. It's a staggering amount. That's $15 million an hour.
The airline industry is a very fragile industry. They operate normally on very razor-thin margins, so any disruption of service sends the airlines into a tailspin.
Delta Airlines is calling for government help.
They wouldn't want the airline industry to be the first economic casualty of this war.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Norman Mineta will meet with airline industry leaders in the next few days. The House initially voted down a package of aid and loan guarantees totaling some $15 billion. But the Bush administration says it is open to some kind of help for the industry.
These are the kinds of subjects that we will talk with the Secretary of Transportation, with the airline industry, and as importantly, with members of Congress. Congress must be involved.
At Newark Airport, Senators Torricelli and Corzine were calling for more federal help.
And I think that's actually a cost of government. It's a cost of all of us to make sure that our system works. And so I will personally be supportive of federal activity to make sure that our security measures are consistent.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Norman Mineta is meeting with industry leaders early tomorrow. There has been no decision, we're told, on the size of the package. But, Lou, it's interesting because the estimates are ramping up. The initial cash settlement was $2.5 billion. It's now probably double that, we're told, by congressional leaders, and $20 to $24 billion in additional assistance, including loan guarantees.
And the assistance, as you point out, desperately needed. Kitty, thank you very much. Kitty Pilgrim. Well, the president is, as we have reported to you, calling Osama bin Laden the prime suspect in last Tuesday's terrorist attack. He now says the United States wants to capture bin Laden, dead or alive. We are now joined by the former Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, to discuss what our expectations should be and the prospects for success in soon capturing bin Laden. Good to have you with us. And
good to be with you, Lou.
We want to turn first and foremost to this war. It's a new war. It is, as the president said, going to be a long war. How soon should we expect, in your judgment, some success in that war?
Well, I think we have to be patient, Lou. It's a very difficult war. A lot of attention was paid to it when we were in office, and we added a lot in terms of security and trying to go after Osama bin Laden, and it is not easy. And I think the most important point here is to understand that this has to be a sustained effort by the United States and the coalition that Secretary Powell is putting together, and to understand the difficulty of pursuit of this man who can hide. Very hard to get concrete intelligence on him, and we have to just keep, as the president said, we've got to stay with it.
The president has made it clear, this administration has made it clear that there is a world now that is either